Okay, let's go and look at one more problem from section 7.3. And it says, you receive a brochure from a large university. The brochure indicates that the mean class size for full-time faculty is fewer than 33 students. So you want to test this claim. You randomly select 18 classes taught by full-time faculty and determine the class size of each. Again, this is this is that data. Okay, the size of each of those classes. The results are shown in this table below. So at a significance level of 0.05, can you support the university's claim, okay, that the average class size, the mean class size for full-time faculty is fewer than 33 students? Okay, we're going to complete parts A through D. Okay, so we're going to write the claim mathematically and identify the null hypothesis and the alternative hypothesis. Okay. So in the problem, it says the claim, right, is that the class size for full-time faculty is fewer than 33 students. So think about what symbol that would be, okay, in the alternative hypothesis. Okay, so if you correctly determine that fewer than translates to less than, you would be correct. Okay, so we want to select the answer choice where the less than symbol is used in the alternative hypothesis. Okay, so since the less than symbol is used in the alternative hypothesis in two of these answer choices, okay, only one of them is correct. Right, it's either answer choice D or answer choice F. Right, those are the only answer choices where the less than symbol is used in the alternative hypothesis. Okay, if we go back to our notes here, we see that if the less than symbol is used in the alternative hypothesis, then we must use the opposite symbol. So the opposite of less than would be greater than or equal to. Okay, so we're going to select the answer choice where the greater than or equal to symbol is in the null hypothesis. Okay, which would be answer choice D. Okay, and then it says find the p-value. Okay, so before we find the p-value, okay, let's go ahead and copy the data into StatCrunch. All right, and we're going to select an empty column to put the data into. Okay, I'm going to rename it as class size. Okay, we're going to go to stats, tstats, and then select one sample with the actual data since we have the actual data. And then select the column that contains the data. And since we're doing a hypothesis test, we're going to leave this option selected. Okay, the other option is for a confidence interval. Okay, so the problem said that the mean class size is fewer than 33 students. Okay, so the number 33 is going to go here in the null hypothesis and the alternative hypothesis. Right, so you'll notice that as I type this number in to the first box, it automatically populates the other box, right, since both of these numbers must be the same. Okay, and the null hypothesis, it just says equal to, so we can't really change that, but the symbol in the alternative should be less than. Okay, so technically, even though we have a greater than or equal to in the null hypothesis, okay, we can still do the hypothesis test. All right, we can include a p-value plot and other options, okay, but those are not necessary. Okay, so the variable is class size. This was the sample mean. So the mean class size is about 30 students. Standard deviation from the sample is about 1.14. Okay, there were 17 degrees of freedom, so the sample size minus 1. So there were 18 data values in our sample, so the degrees of freedom was 17. Okay, this is our test statistic. What we're looking for is the p-value. Okay, that's our p-value, 0.0146. Okay, so we're going to round it to 3 decimal places, so 0.0146. So to 3 decimal places, that 4 there will get rounded up to a 5. So to 3 decimal places would be 0.015, would be the p-value. Okay, so then you compare the p-value to the level of significance, which is 0.05. Right, so can you tell whether the p-value is greater than or equal to? Right, or is it less than? Okay. Right, so 0.01 is definitely less than our significance level of 0.05. So in that case, when the p-value is less than the significance level, we reject the null hypothesis. Okay, and then we want to interpret the decision in the context of this problem. Okay, so remember that the claim in this problem is the alternative hypothesis, okay, rather than the null hypothesis like it was in the previous example from the previous video. Okay, so remember that we also rejected the null hypothesis because the p-value was less than the significance level, so our p-value was equal to this. Okay, and then compared to the significance level, right, it's clearly less than, okay, and this being the significance level. Right, so then we would say there is sufficient evidence to support the claim that the mean class size for all full-time faculty is fewer than 33 students. Okay, so remember that the claim that we're trying to find support for, right, was in the alternative hypothesis. So because our p-value is telling us to reject the null hypothesis, it means we have support for our claim. Okay, so once you write this out, and although you don't have to, but it's a good idea to write it out, right, select the best answer choice. Okay. And again, you can read these on your own. But it looks like answer choice B makes the most sense. Okay, none of the other answer choices match with what we wrote as our conclusion. So let's go ahead and check it. All right, and we've correctly completed problem 3 in the homework for section 7.3. Thank you for watching.